Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Yashodanandana Raja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Raja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Chiravanachari. Chiravanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Yashodanandana Raja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Raja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Ashtotara Shata Shri Srimad Divine Grace Abhaya Charana Aravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Pondaracharya's Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Namacharya Haridas Thakur ki Prem se Goho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyam Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki Vrajabhumi Vrindavan Dham ki Mathura Dham ki Dwaraka Puri Dham ki Purushottama Kshetra Jagannath Puri Dham ki Shri Mayapur Navadvip Dham ki Gangamai Yamunamai ki Bhakti Devi Tulasi Devi ki Samaveta Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki All glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuvunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantitam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namavam Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha Ugram Viram Mahavishnam Jwalantam Sarvato Mukham Nrasimham Bhishanam Bhadram Mrityor Mrityor Namamyaham Shri Narasimha Jaya Narasimha Jaya Jaya Narasimha Prahladesha Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Bringa Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Nashta Prayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha. Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. We welcome all of you on this most auspicious, blessed day of the appearance of Lord Narsimha. Although people know this pastime very well, just like whenever we celebrate Ramanavami, people wonder, what is the speaker going to say something new? We already know Ramayana. You know, Ram was sent to forest, and then Sita was stolen away by Ravana. And Hanuman found out Sita, and Ram waged a war, and they came back and Pattabhishek over. People think like that, isn't it? It is such an easy thing. But when you actually go into Ramayana, Valmiki Ramayana, there are so many amazing sections and verses, and so many spiritual exchanges between the personalities. So in the same manner, even a small kid who sings Narsing Arti in our community knows the pastime of Prahlad Narsimha, isn't it? They know very well. If you tell him to say, even a 6 or 8-year-old child can narrate the pastime of Prahlad Narsimha. At the same time, it is the devotion and the intelligence of the acharyas like Srila Prabhupada. They have brought out very important teachings from such pastimes, what we should internalize in our lives. So, in one of the Sri Ishopanishad purports, this is text number 11, where Prabhupada writes about Hiranyakashipu here. Here, the translation goes like this. Only one who can learn the process of nescience and that of transcendental knowledge side by side can transcend the influence of repeated birth and death and enjoy the full blessings of immortality, he's saying. What is the meaning of this? For example, if you are going to speak very sweet pastimes of Krishna stealing butter or Krishna being bound by Mother Yashoda, there are many people who may appreciate also. In Kunjubari temple, once I was giving a Bhagavatam class on Damodar Leela, and one old man was sitting. After the class, he said, Swamiji, when you told the naughty pastimes of baby Gopal, I was very much remembering my grandson. He is also very naughty, you know. He was telling, he plays exactly similar type of pranks. Every evening I take him for a walk now, and all that he was telling. So, people take the pastimes of Krishna so cheaply and equate it to an ordinary living entity. And such pastimes of Krishna hardly make any difference in their consciousness, bodily consciousness. In fact, it reinforces bodily consciousness rather than uplift them from bodily consciousness. Because they don't know who Krishna is. Think about it. How many of you knew who Krishna was even before coming to ISKCON? If you say, yes, we all knew Krishna in some form or other. Some understanding we had until we read Srila Prabhupada books. And Prabhupada shook us up and woke us up to the correct understanding of who Krishna is. Otherwise, people took Krishna very lightly. There are many people who are very attracted to the playful pastimes of Krishna, but hardly do they know any tattva about Krishna. So, on the other hand, you will see Srila Prabhupada's disciples in the West, many of them, when they heard from Srila Prabhupada the kind of reverence they developed for Krishna and the level of commitment and dedication they showed over decades, 4 or 5 decades, it shows how they internalize this truth. Even though they don't come from a culture of India, they have accepted the truth wholeheartedly. So therefore, there is one letter of Srila Prabhupada. What Prabhupada says here. Prabhupada says, we are not concerned with the stories of Bhagavatam, he says here. See? Here he says, we are not concerned with the stories of Srimad Bhagavatam. The book which you have sent is quite nice in abridging the stories of Bhagavatam, but there is no profit simply by knowing these stories, like the Prabhupada is saying. So one disciple told Prabhupada that, Prabhupada, you have given Bhagavatam which is too voluminous. You know, you are giving 48 volumes in those days. Now it is 18 big volumes. And most people cannot carry it from place to place, and no, most people don't get time to study so exhaustively. So what have I done? I've summarized all the stories of Bhagavatam in one volume. So Prabhupada, instead of that big Bhagavatam, we can sell this Bhagavatam. People can very easily read. So Prabhupada is saying here, we are not concerned with the stories of the Bhagavatam. The book which you have sent is quite nice in abridging the stories of Bhagavatam, but there is no profit simply by knowing these stories. We must know the philosophy of Srimad Bhagavatam. And if one can understand the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, Janmadhyasya, he becomes a great learned man in Vedic knowledge. All the great acharyas have tried to elucidate Bhagavatam very elaborately. They never try to abridge it. Acharyas don't abridge it. What do they try to do? They elaborate it, he's saying. They take one shloka and they elaborate it. You know, there is a commentary of a dozen acharyas, Bhagavatam commentaries, that those volumes are like 15, 20 volumes. Not good. Hare Krishna. So we are trying to explain Srimad Bhagavatam elaborately. Is it good? Not good, they are saying. It's not good. That was better. Yeah. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Yeah. So we are trying to explain Bhagavatam elaborately, Prabhupada says. And students interested in Bhagavatam may purchase our books and try to understand it without any attempt to try to know the stories, you say. Yeah. So many of our preachers also, they think Bhagavatam is too exhaustive. They just take Ambaresh story, very beautiful stories from Bhagavatam, and then say one or two lessons, and then you tell the story without touching Prabhupada's purports. Yeah. So we can never come to know the mood and mission of the Acharya. We will never come to know what are we supposed to learn from Bhagavatam. Dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhayam mahajano yena kata sapanta. You are not supposed to give your own lessons on the stories. You have to repeat what is there in the heart of a pure devotee, which the pure devotee speaks when they write their purports. So nowadays it's a fashion to get some self-help points from many of the Shastric stories also. As such, this age is the age of speculation, of Kali Yuga. So we are not supposed to speculate and cook some nice lessons for applying in our material life and enhance our material life to become a little more better. That is not the goal of study of the scriptures. Actually, the real purport of the scripture is in the Acharyas, like Srila Prabhupada's purports. Some people read the translations only. Bhagavatam, translation. Just now I know the whole story. That's not the goal. Knowing the story is not the goal. Even if you miss the translation, no problem. Go to the purport. Because translation may be difficult sometimes to understand. Purport is more easy. Prabhupada has made it more lucid. So therefore, the real heart of Bhagavatam is in the purport. Because that heart, Prabhupada said, my purport are my ecstasies, he said. Krishna conscious ecstasies. So the Acharya knows the heart of Krishna and he can help us to get a peep into Krishna's heart. Otherwise, we can never know what Krishna wants us to do unless we hear it from the Acharyas like Srila Prabhupada. So therefore, your letter to Hayagriva, Prabhupada is saying, see, they never try to abridge it, he says. They try to elaborate it. So, here let us see what Prabhupada explains about. Here he says, the translation says, only one who can learn the process of avidya and vidya side by side, he is telling. Which means on one hand, I should know how material enjoyment can never make me happy. 100% we should be convinced. I am only going to get slaps and kicks if I try material enjoyment. On the other hand, we should know I don't need to be frustrated by my vain attempts to enjoy the world, because there is another world, spiritual world, for which Krishna has given direction, how to reach there. So that knowledge also is available in the scripture. So we have to learn anartha nivritti and artha pravritti. Anartha nivritti is getting rid of lust, anger, pride, illusion, greed, and all these things. Artha pravritti means developing attraction for Krishna's holy names, form, qualities, pastimes, activities. So these both should go hand in hand. Because Mayavadis, they only try to know the difference between Sat and Asat. What is permanent, what is temporary. And they don't focus on Brahman. They say Brahman Satyam Jagat Mithya. So they study all about Mithya only, and what is it Satyam they don't know, because they have not heard in Vaishnava Guru Parampara. So therefore all they will get is only frustration. Whereas in Vaishnava Siddhanta both are explained. You know how the material world is shadow and the spiritual world is substance. Imagine if you are inside a jail and there is a big wall, and from the road people are walking, people's shadows are falling on the wall of the jail. So you can see the shadows moving in the wall of the jail, but you cannot see the people there, isn't it? But you know that these shadows give an indication that some real people are walking in the outside road. So that is like spiritual world, and the shadow is like the material world. The shadowy forms which are moving are insubstantial. But the real forms of the people on the road moving, that is substantial. Because we are inside the bars of the jail, we have no access to go to the road outside at the moment. Similarly, in the material world, we are seeing shadowy forms of people made of Panchamahabhuta, which is growing from childhood, boyhood, youth to old age and perishing. These are shadowy forms, but the shadow gives indication to the substance. If I do my fingers like a deer, and I do like this, on the wall also you will see, one shadow will be going like this. You have seen that way we used to do like that, isn't it? So it looks like as if a deer is moving, but the shadow gives you indication that actually there is somebody who is doing it, waving the hand. So therefore, one should know what is a shadow and one should know what is the substance. One should know the difference between both. So here Prabhupada is saying, since the creation of the material world, everyone has been trying to attain a permanent life, but the laws of nature are so cruel that no one has been able to avoid the hand of death. No one wants to die, nor does anyone want to become old or diseased. The law of nature, however, does not allow anyone immunity from old age, disease, or death, nor has the advancement of material knowledge solved these problems. So Prabhupada is saying, it is a reality that we all try to postpone death and postpone old age. The cosmetic industry is flourishing due to people's desire to remain young, isn't it? Like people have so many cosmetics, people use nail polishes, isn't it? People use so many hair lotions, and people use so many shampoos and so many deodorants. And these companies are flourishing because people want to present themselves as somebody wonderful, and they also want to always look very young, isn't it? Similarly, insurance industry is flourishing because of death. Isn't it? People are afraid, they want to save. So you will see that in this way, although people are making an effort to stop these things, like you can say everybody wants to remain young forever, but very soon they become old, isn't it? Yeah, and they may put all kind of cosmetics like you have shown. That doesn't help. Yeah. Similarly, everybody wants to be healthy, always. You know the meaning of the word healthy is swasthya. Swa means one's own. Stha means situate yourself. Swastha, that means originally you are not sickly. Originally you are very healthy. But when you get sickness, that is called dis-ease. What is the meaning of dis-ease? You are not at ease. Correct, no? When you get disease, you are not at... When are you at ease? When are you at ease? Huh? No, when you are healthy. How many of you are at ease now? Of course, because of hot summer, you are not at ease, I think. But you are at ease when you are healthy. When you are sickly, you are not at ease. That's why it's called disease. So she is healthy now, but then she gets sickly. That's the material world. Similarly, the death also. These are unavoidable things. So that is why he's saying here, the laws of nature, however, does not allow anyone immunity from old age, disease, or death. Nor has the advancement of material knowledge solved these problems. Advanced material knowledge means nowadays medical science has become so advanced. You can see if you go to the big hospitals, they have CT scan, they have MRI scan, and they have X-rays and all very high class facilities are available. So when people see those facilities, so with those equipments and everything, man's confidence level has increased. That now if you throw money, you can be protected. Is it not true? People think, they can cure cancer, they can cure this, they can cure that. If you have some problem in the, you got a brain hemorrhage or you got some tumor, you can perform surgery. Yes, we don't say you cannot. But even after performing that, how long can you live? Like they put this oxygen, what do you call it, ventilators. A person, he's breathing like that, but he cannot speak anything. He's just a vegetable lying on the bed. You can only be happy that our grandfather is still alive. That's all. He's not dead. But he cannot speak. He's simply a vegetable on the bed. But how long can you prolong your life? When are you going to prolong till 200 or 300 or 400? That's what he's saying. Material science can discover the nuclear bomb to accelerate the process of death, Prabhupada says. But it cannot discover anything that can protect man from the cruel hands of death. You see? Actually, one thing very easily scientists can do, they can create a dynamite. You throw and then kill 1,000,000 people. That is very easy to do. Just like even a child can take a pot, talk, immediately can break it. But can a child make a pot? Which is easy, making a pot or breaking pot? One child can break a pot. But a kumhar, a potter is required for making pot. So, you have seen a kumbhar, a potter, is a wheel in which he makes different type of mud products. Some are pots, some are plates, some are kullad, isn't it? Different things he makes. And then he arranges everything for sale. Similarly, Lord has used the wheel of material nature to produce all the different forms of 8.4 million species. Some people are fat, some are short, some are thin, some are fair, some are black, and some are animals, some are birds, some are aquatics. Lord has produced all this with the wheel of material nature. So Lord is making these bodies and giving us. But destroying this body, scientists can easily do, just like a child can break a pot. But nobody can preserve life. Nobody can keep a person alive forever. That's what he is saying. My material science has tried a lot. From the Puranas, we learned activities of Hiranyakashipu, a king who was very much advanced materially, wanting to conquer cruel death by his material acquisitions and strength of his nescience. He underwent a type of meditation so severe that the inhabitants of all planetary systems became disturbed by his mystic powers. He forced the creator of the universe, the demigod Brahma, to come down to him, and then he asked Brahma for the benediction of becoming Amara, by which one does not die. Brahma said that he couldn't award that benediction because he himself was not Amara. Brahma lives very long time, 3.11 trillion, 40 billion years. But even he himself is not immortal, he said. So, Hiranyakashipu means, Hiranya means gold, Kashipu means soft bed. This cunning gentleman, Prabhupada says, Hiranyakashipu was interested in these two things, money and women. And he wanted to enjoy them by becoming immortal. See, Prahlad. Hlad means spiritual bliss. Prahlad means Prakrishta Rupena. Hlad means he is fully absorbed in spiritual bliss arising from Krishna Seva. His body, his mind, his words are all 24/7 in connection with the Lord. He is conducted by the Lord, Lord's internal potency. Why the word conducted is used? We all can be conductors or resistors. We have the choice. So some people may offer, Hiranyakashipu offered 100% resistance for Lord to conduct him. And Prahlad offered 100% conduction. So that there was zero resistance in Prahlad for the Lord's mercy to flow through. So he is called a superconductor. Who? Prahlad, yeah. And all of us may be somewhere in between. We may allow some mercy to flow through us and some mercy we may resist and oppose due to false ego. False ego and our propensity for sense gratification and our propensity for whimsical activities. But if you are allowing the Lord's mercy to flow through us, then our hlad will increase, transcendental bliss will increase, and 100% bliss he experienced, Prahlad. So here, these are two diametrically opposite consciousnesses. One is thinking man, this one is thinking gold and women, which means money and woman are his goal of life. On the other hand, here, Prahlad, service to the Supreme Lord in pure love is the goal of his life. And they were father and son. So here, in order to achieve that status of enjoying gold and women for all time, you wanted to become such a mighty person. In the Vedic times, everybody knew anything you want to achieve, you have to do tapasya. And now also people know it. If you want to get into IIT, people start at 7th standard only nowadays. They have tuitions, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, and then IIT JEE, you write and you crack and you get into IIT. People work very hard. Similarly, UPSC, there are people studying sometimes 5 years, 6 years to crack the UPSC and become one of the bureaucrat. Unless you do tapasya, you won't make it. And it's very focused tapasya people do. They study several hours, 15 hours a day, 16 hours a day. They're glued to the book and they work very hard. Anybody who wants to get promotion, even in a company also, like we say, you throw away the watch and forget the lunchbox. And you should be willing to wag your tail and lick the boots of so many people to get promotion. So in this world, people are ready to do so much hard work, but it is a fact, proven fact in this world also that unless one is ready to persevere, one doesn't go to great heights materially also. So in the Vedic times also, people would go to the forest and withdraw their senses from external absorption, external clutter we can say instead of absorption. They would withdraw the mind from the external clutter of material, glitter and glamour, and then be able to focus in a one-pointed way on that supreme person who can award you whatever benedictions you want. Our Dhruva's mother, Suniti, was a devotee of Lord Vishnu. So she told him that, Dhruva, why are you crying for this lap of your father? Even if you want to be a king, she said, your father got the benediction from Brahma. Your father Uttanapad. His father Swayambhu Manu also got from Brahma only. Got from Vishnu only. And his father Brahma. So Brahma, Swayambhu Manu, Uttanapad, all three in the Vamsh, they got their kingdoms from one supreme Lord Vishnu. So Vishnu actually can provide you anything you want in this creation. He is the father of the creation. There is nothing that's impossible for him. Then she also said, his love for the jivas is like the love of a million mothers. And I am one mother, I am not able to pacify you. Tameva vatsas, atsashraya britya vatsalam, she said. You should go and experience the love of Krishna's love for us. Once you experience that love, you will get the love of a million mothers. You will be so happy. Which means you get double advantage. You get your kingdom also and you get infinite love. So you'll be very happy. So she gave perfect guidance. Correct guidance she gave him. So Dhruva went to forest and met Narada Muni and got a beautiful guidance. Narada Muni also was a pure devotee of Krishna. His mother guided him to Krishna. How wonderful it is. The result was Dhruva became a pure devotee and also got Dhruva Loka and everything. So Dhruva also, you will see how he withdrew his senses and mind. First month he ate tasteless fruits, once in 3 days. Second month he ate only grasses, once in 6 days. Third month, he only drank water once in 9 days. And fourth month, he only took a puff of air once in 12 days. And fifth month, he stopped taking anything. Fasting. Like all are fasting today, isn't it? Of course, we have to do only for till evening only. But he was doing for months. So, when Dhruva did that, all the universal air was blocked, due to which all the demigods were suffocating, and then they went to Vishnu. So Vishnu said, "Oh, Dhruva, one of my pure devotees, Dhruva, he has captured me in his heart. I am the Lord of the universe. He has captured me in his heart with so much affection. Therefore, you all are suffocating now. Very soon I will go and give my darshan to him. He is adamant to get my darshan. I'll go and give my darshan." So Lord Vishnu arrived. And then when Dhruva suddenly saw the Lord in his heart missing, he became very despondent. He opened his eyes and he saw the same Lord in front of him. Then he fell at his feet and he felt such intense love for Vishnu. He says that, "I want all my senses to become like eyes to see your beauty. I want all my senses to become like nose to, experience your fragrance. I want all my senses to become like ears to experience the sweetness of your voice." So like that he was telling. Actually, this is a experience you get in the bhava stage. In bhava stage, saurabhya means when Lord comes in front of you, his fragrance is so great that you want all your senses to become like nose so that you can experience as much of the fragrance. Similarly, sausvarya means when Krishna plays on his flute, little flute sound you hear, you feel, "Oh, let all my senses become like ears to hear the flute." And when Krishna gives his darshan, that's called Saundarya. So Saundarya, Saukumarya, Saurabhya. In this way, when he gives darshan, you want all your senses to become like eyes. So in this way, Dhruva was blessed soul to experience love for Krishna and get his heart purified and attain the Dhruva Loka also and return to palace very gloriously, and he became adored by Devatas as well as pure devotees, as well as by his spiritual master Narada for his determination. He became adorable by all because he took the right shelter of Vishnu's lotus feet. In one place I was surprised to know when Hiranyakashipu is speaking, he's saying he doesn't want Dhruvaloka, he says. It's amazing because Dhruvaloka is above Satyaloka, Brahmaloka. Why he didn't want Dhruvaloka? He wanted to take away Brahma's post. Because he thought, if I am in Dhruvaloka, I will be sitting and doing bhajan there. But if I go to Satyaloka, I can control the entire Brahmanda. That was his desire. So just see, amazing. Once His Holiness Jayadutta Maharaj was telling, the living entity has so much controlling mentality. He will prefer to be a king in hell, or he will prefer to be a dog in a street who can control the entire street, rather than be a king rather than be a servant in heaven. You are saying, if you are asked, you want to be a servant in heaven or dog of the street who can control the other dogs? You will say, I think dog is better because I can control other dogs. So he wanted to actually be. He was thinking of occupying Satyaloka, which he couldn't, because that is Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh cannot be controlled by ordinary people. Then he thought, okay, the next best is Indraloka. Then he went to Indra's abode and took away his seat, isn't it? So in this way, there is a very remarkable difference between Hiranyakashipu and Dhruva. Hiranyakashipu did not approach Lord Vishnu for benediction because he hated Vishnu. He is a Krishna Dveshi of Krishna and devotees. So he says in one of the verses, wherever you will find the cows and the temples and the brahmanas and the hermitages and fruit-bearing trees and bridges, you destroy them all. He's telling his people. So the tamoguni mentality means to destroy. And then he's saying, wherever you find babul trees, which are thani bushes, and those trees don't cut. Let them be available to trouble the people. Either is telling. So, and he's saying, I will reverse the results of pious and impious deeds. That means you do punya, According to Hiranyakashipu's government, you will be sent to hell for doing punya. You do pap, you will be sent to heaven. He himself did so much pap and went and sat in the Indra's seat. That's what Prabhupada is saying. This cunning gentleman, Prabhupada is saying. That's why he's calling the word cunning, he's saying. That kind of control he wanted. Huh? He actually wanted to become immortal, but he couldn't. Huh? Because Brahma couldn't make him. And then Hiranyakashipu requested that he not be killed by any man, animal or god or other things and all. See, remarkably different I told you, because Dhruva approached Vishnu, whereas Hiranyakashipu approached Brahma. Because these demons know that, if you go to Vishnu, he'll purify your heart and you'll forget the desire. Huh? Whatever you want to enjoy. What was that I came with? I forgot. So they're afraid. Vishnu is dangerous. Huh? He will make you forget the desire. So he is thinking that I want to. One boy was asking me, Prabhu, you told me to chant 8 rounds at a stretch in the Surti camp. After I chanted, Prabhu, I felt so light. I felt this whole material world is insignificant. Bhuloka is nothing, Goloka is everything. Huh? So he said, now I am so afraid that I am so fastly advancing in Krishna consciousness, I think I'll go a little slow. Huh? I'll come back to 4 rounds. Huh? He was telling. So, Hiranyakashipu had a similar fear. Huh? Don't go to Vishnu, go to demigods. Huh? Then you can get your benediction accomplished. And also he was in a mindset to trick Brahma. Huh? And take Amaratva from him. Somewhat as close as possible to immortality. That's why he asked all those benedictions he asked. So you will see what all he asked there. I'll just show you the PPT. Huh? So he performed very, very severe austerity, so much so that he raised his arms and he didn't eat, he didn't drink. So what is actually meditation? If you see, through also I told you, he reduced his material demands and he focused on the Supreme Lord. Correct, no? Similarly, Hiranyakashipu did the same thing. He reduced his material demands little by little by little. That means when you reduce the material demands more and more, then the gross and subtle bodily coverings, they wither away. Huh? They wither away. And then one focuses on the goal, what one wants to achieve. Hiranyakashipu's goal was to become immortal in this material world itself, which is an impossibility. Huh? He desired an impossible thing and he went to the demigod Brahma. Huh? So you will find many demons go to demigods for benedictions. Ravana went to Shiva, for example. Bhasmasura went to Shiva also. Banasura went to Shiva. There are demons who go to also Devi also. And there are people like Hiranyakashipu going to Brahma. And many of these people, the purpose of going to demigods is, if you do X number of items for doing a puja, then demigods are obliged to come and give you your benedictions. Kshipram himanushe loke siddhir bhavati karmaja. Kankshanta karmanam siddhim yajanta iha devata. Kshipram himanushe loke siddhir bhavati karmaja. Krishna says, why do they go to demigods? For 2 reasons. Because they can get material benedictions from demigods and they can get it quickly. That's why they go. Now some of you may think, that's a wonderful idea. I am also thinking of some material things I need. And you say that we get it quickly, then why not we also take advantage, you may think. But the problem is, the material commodities are pain producing, whereas the spiritual gifts are bliss producing. The spiritual gifts given by a pure devotee or by Supreme Lord is bliss producing. One example is, when one devotee of Lord Shiva, very nice businessman who had a very innocent heart. So he was worshipping Shiva. Shiva developed a thought, why should I just give him some material benediction and give him pain in his life? Let me give him a Krishna conscious gift. But at that time the man was not ready. So then Shiva told him, you want gold, isn't it? Go to that Gosai who lives in Vrindavan. So he was directed by Lord Shiva to go to Sanatana Goswami. So when he went to Sanatana Goswami, he saw Sanatana Goswami was sitting and chanting the holy name, absorbed in remembrance of Krishna. He lived in a very simple cottage. Or sometimes they would sleep under different trees and lived as a very great renunciate. So he saw his lifestyle, he saw his devotion, he was amazed. Then he asked him, Lord Shiva has sent me to you, that you will give me something, some gold. So Sanatana Goswami showed the dustbin and said, there is one paras money, touchstone. You pick it up, anything you touch will become gold. So the man picked it up, took it home, he thanked them and went home. He touched the table, touched the chair, touched this, touched that. He made a lot of gold. And while making gold, multiple gold objects in his house, suddenly one thought came in his mind. This is such a wonderful thing he has given me. But that Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, if this is so nice, why he didn't keep it with him? He has thrown it in the dustbin. That means there must be something greater with him available. And also I saw he was very cheerful. He was very happy. Without this, he is so happy. And even with this, I am miserable. Like that he was thinking. Even after getting so much gold, still I am not happy. Something is missing in my life. See, this is the most important thing to understand. Material world, no matter how much you accumulate things, the things don't give you happiness. Material commodities don't give you happiness. People, sometimes there is one soap, Lifebuoy, they say if you use this soap, you'll become happy. We don't know what is the connection between a soap and happiness, isn't it? Or sometimes a car. People think I am going in a scooter. If you get a car, I'll be happy. You get a car, you want a bigger car. So, even if you have a car in Hinjawadi in the morning, if you go, you have to go inch by inch. Like this. You'll be miserable. People who walk go faster to company than people who go in the car also, especially in a cosmopolitan city. So, initially you were miserable for not having a car. Now you are miserable because you have a car. So, he saw that he is not happy. Then he went back to Sanatana Goswami and said, Sir, even with all this gold, something is missing in my life. So, I'm not happy. So, do you have anything better than this? Sanatana Goswami said, yes, definitely. So, His Holiness Shivaram Swami Maharaj, in his book, Shuddha Bhakti Chintamani, he brings out a very great lesson from this story. He says that it is not that he went and got the parsimony and made gold. That is the secondary information. The primary information, he says, is in the course of going to Sanatana Goswami and watching his lifestyle, hearing him speak, seeing his conviction in Krishna consciousness, this fellow was getting positively influenced. Who? That businessman. And therefore, he developed that inner spiritual strength to go to the river Yamuna and throw away the parsimony in the river and come back. And then he accepted the holy name. And he also became blissful because holy name is a spiritual gift. Spiritual gift will make you blissful. Like if some senior devotee gives you some seva, Krishna seva will make you blissful. If they give you Krishna Nam will make you blissful. If they give you Sri Vigraha to worship, that will make you blissful. If they gifted you a book of Srila Prabhupada, that transcendental knowledge, nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitramiha vidyate. So that susukam kartum aveyam raja vidya raja guhyam pavitram vedamatamam, that will make us blissful. Of course, if he gives you Krishna Prasad, that will definitely make you blissful. And that is one thing which conditioned souls can very quickly experience. That's a most profound realization of Krishna in the form of, yeah. So transcendental gifts can make us blissful, but material gifts will make us miserable. Material enjoyment is another name for misery. And Hiranyakashipu here had a wrong goal. He went to the demigod and asking for material benedictions, which he got. And after that, if you see what all he did, Tamangamattam Badunoru Gandhina Vrittatamrakshama Dishnapaha Upasatopayana Pani Birvina Trivistapo Yoga Balauja Sampadam. So, Narada is telling this pastime to Yudhishthira Maharaj. He is telling that Tamangamattam Madhunoru Gandhina. This fellow, after getting benediction from Brahma, he occupied the throne of Indra in heaven. At all times he was mattam, means completely mad in madhu. Madhu gandhi means nasty smell of wine will come from his mouth. Yeah. And he was always drunken in liquor. And vivritta tambraksha mashesha dishnyapa. From his eyes were like coppery balls, which were reeling. When one is drunken, one's eyes are reeling, isn't it? His eyes were reeling, and he was drunken on liquor. He always had a pyala in his hand. And the demigods would come out of fear that this fellow is lording over us, he should not beat us up. So they would come to give him some gifts. Upasatopayana panibir. So when they would bring the gift, he would tell them, give it here, get lost. So they would run away out of fear. So the demigods would tremble. Vina Trivistha means except three personalities, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. All of the demigods were under his control. How he controlled them? Yoga Balaujasam Padam. By his tapasya, he gained the ability to bring about control of all the living entities in the universe. And such control cannot be even dreamt of now. Now, there may be one leader of a country who can win the heart of all his own citizens. There are some countries where the prime minister or president has repeatedly been elected for 20, 30, 40 years also. There are countries like that. He has control over the people. He's doing welfare for the people. People worship him practically. But he cannot have any control in the neighborhood country or in other countries, isn't it? To have control over the earth was possible for some kings like Yudhishthira Maharaj, Ambarish Maharaj, Gaya Maharaj, Parikshit Maharaj. They were having control over the entire earth. But then Hiranyakashipu had control over all the three lokas, upper, middle and lower. So this type of control is unheard of. Such kind of severe tapasya I did. 100 celestial years, which means 36,000 years. He did not drink water. Brahma, when he came with even Bhrigu Muni and other rishis also, rishis and devatas. Brahma told, even this Bhrigu Muni who is accompanying us, even he cannot be without water for 100 celestial years. And you did such a great penance, Hiranyakashipu, great. And it appears marvelous. Maybe you feel we should give him a gold medal or something for doing this. But if you think deeply about this, the bed bug, katmal, in one season it becomes thin like paper. Another season it becomes plumpy and fat by drinking blood. You've seen that? Similarly, right now Hiranyakashipu has become so skinny and so thinny, his anthill grew over his body. And ants had eaten up all his flesh and only bones were there. And the soul was moving within the bones. Life air was moving. When Brahma came, took some water and sprinkled. Immediately Hiranyakashipu came out like the fire emanating from wood. Like that it just came out with a tenacious body, golden body, powerful body, mighty body. And yoga balojasam. The body endowed with mystic powers. He can walk on water, fly on sky, he can control people, he can read the mind of people, he can do so many things. By such a kind of severe tapasya which he did. Now he got a body. It's like the katmal which has become plumpy now. Like that. He became very strong. And then he gave the long list of items he wanted from Brahma. And Brahma also awarded him, thinking that this fellow has done so much tapasya. He deserves these things. So Brahma gave him all those benedictions. So it appears. And now after getting the benediction, just see what is he doing. He wants these powers for exploiting the world. See, any leader is meant to facilitate the living entities to return back to the Supreme Lord. Every one of us, you are a parent, you are a principal of a school, you are president of a country, prime minister, president of a country, or any post you hold, your only goal should be to think how I can go back home, back to Godhead, and how I can make my dependents go back to Godhead. And for that, let me provide facilities, let me provide, favorable ambience, let me remove their inconveniences. so that they can peacefully execute devotion service and go back to Godhead. Rather than facilitate the praja of the world to go back to Godhead, this fellow did atrocious things. The first thing he's doing is drunken in liquor, and his eyes are reeling, and he's sitting on the Indra's throne. And he drove up to Indra also. Indra is as such fearful. Now he'll be even more fearful now. He occupied his post. Jagur Mahendra Sanamo Jasastitham Vishwavasastum Bururas Maudadayah Gandharva Siddha Rishayostu Vanmuhu Vidyadharascha Apsarasascha Pandava. Yeah. So he occupied the Mahendra's asana by his prowess and influence, Ojasa, Sthitam. He had a tremendous influence over demons and demigods and all the living entities of the world. And then he's saying Vishwavasu, Tumburu, all these people he's saying, which means Tumburu is the leader of the Gandharvas. So he always had Tumburu sitting in his sabha and said, hey, play now, for my pleasure. So he made him play musical instruments for his pleasure. And Apsarasaha means Apsaras were dancing for his pleasure. Gandharvas were singing. So Siddhas, Rishis, they were all present also. So Narada says, even I was in that sabha, he says. Of course, Prabhupada says, Narada was a very intelligent sage. He was going around sabha to see when will this fellow, commit an aparadha to Prahlad, he'll be finished. But Narada is never controlled, but Narada knows the art of dealing with all kinds of dhira, adhira, janapriya, priyakarao. Yeah. Sayeva varna shramabhi. Sayeva varna shramibhi. Kratubhir puri dakshinaihi. Ijyamano havir bhagan. Agrahit svena tejasa. He called the Brahmins. And told them to perform yajnas for his pleasure. And he told them, make sure none of the shares of the yajna to go to any of the demigods. All the shares should come only to me. And it should be done for my glory, my glorification. Ijyamano, he made them perform. And Havir Bhagavan, Agrahits Svenatejsa, he took it all for himself. Actually, all the devatas get their portion from the Agni Dev, who carries the yajna, this thing, phala, to all the different devatas and offers them, like the Havisha, like the Havishanna and everything that is offered. The demigods actually can receive them through the medium of Agni. So, for example, you want a fan to rotate. The movement of the fan is affected by the passage of electricity. Correct? So, electricity is the medium by which you make the fan rotate. Similarly, Agni is the medium by which you can give the food to the demigods and ultimately to Lord Vishnu. It's a medium. So, but this fellow said, none of them can get any offering. Everything should be, let them all starve and die. I will take everything. Akrishtapacha tasyasid saptadvipavati mahi tata kama dugha gavo nanascharya padam nabaha. He's saying that this fellow controlled the earth in such a way that the earth out of fear was producing fruits, flowers, spices and cereals and everything. And the clouds out of fear were showering rain. In this way, and the ocean was giving pearls out of fear. So now you will see that the Supreme Lord says in the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita that Maya Adhyakshena, I am the one who controls nature. Whereas this fellow seems to be controlling nature also. What is the difference between Supreme Lord controlling nature and some conditioned soul controlling nature? That's a big difference between earth and sky. The Supreme Lord, is loved by all demigods, including all like for example, the Devi is Krishna's sister. On the order of Krishna, she says Om, and she is transferring Balaram from the womb of Devaki to Rohini. Isn't it? Similarly, she produces all the vegetables, fruits, cereals and everything for Krishna's pleasure. She is an expansion of Subhadra only. So, all the devatas, they are very, very fond of the Supreme Lord. Even before he appears in this world, in the Garbha of Devaki, all the demigods arrived even before Krishna appeared. They did Garbhastuti, prayers, isn't it? Yeah. And then when Krishna appears, they shower the flowers. And when Krishna is performing pastimes, in between the pastimes of Krishna, the demigods secretly come to worship him also. Many times, even in Vrindavan also. After the Govardhan Lila was over, the demigods were all very much eager to meet Krishna, but then Krishna is always with covered boys. After that, Indra went and sought forgiveness. After everything was over, when Krishna was alone, Krishna understood my demigod friends want to come and meet me. So he left Vajavasis away and then he came. And there was a big festival that demigod celebrated for coronating Krishna as Govinda, the real Indra. So they performed Abhishekam for him, they performed worship for him, they offered Bhoga for him. And when the covered boys came, they were shocked. So one of the covered boy went and told the other covered boys, hey, there was one four-headed person who was rotating like this. He was performing Arati. He saw Brahma performing Arati. And they were saying there were four small children like sages, the Chatushkumaras. And there was Indra, there was Chandra, all these big personalities. And then they all flew back to their abodes. And then the covered boys took the Arati lamp and they were doing for Krishna. Krishna enjoyed that even more. So you can see that the demigods are all lovers of the Supreme Lord. They actually, the sun is waking up on time every morning and setting on time. The rain showers come on time. Wind is blowing. Everything is happening on Krishna's order and Krishna's will. But here Hiranyakashipu was exploiting them to yield these things. There's a difference, isn't it? Like for example, you perform yajna and the clouds will give you rains, isn't it? Yajnat bhavati parjanyo. Yajnat bhavati parjanyo, yajna karma samudbhava. You don't do yajna and rain doesn't come, then you put a bore. 800 feet, 1000 feet, 2000 feet. And you tell the Mother Earth, Mama, why are you not giving water? Give water. It's like a boy, it's like a boy is snatching the purse from the mother for money. And the mother is saying, hey, beta, ask the father. If father gives permission, I will give. He says, Papa will not give. You give me now. Mama. So, he is stealing water from the earth. Why don't you perform yajna and get the water in a legal way? They want to get things in an illegal way. And that is why when they did similarly petroleum products, they brought out so much havoc on earth. All the petroleum, therefore in the Vedas it is said one should not dig the earth and go down and take out all these dangerous things. Like the petroleum products, you can see the plastics and the polyvinyl, all these things are and diesel, petrol, and they are creating carbon monoxide and depleting ozone layer. And they all are pain producing. Already there is enough pain. Why to increase pain? Isn't it? So you will see that this fellow is forcibly making nature yield fruits, forcibly demanding everybody. So when there would be heat, he was directly controlling the sun. Hey, reduce the temperature. He would twist his eyebrows. Prahlad says that in one of the shlokas. My father would twist his eyebrows and chastise the demigods, and demigods would salute him and do what he demanded them to do. Prahlad says that. And then Prahlad says, my dear Lord, although my father was so mighty controlling all the demigods, I saw you pick him up and put him on your lap and tear him to pieces. Therefore I surrender to you, he said. Because you are million times more mightier than my father. Although my father appeared to be invincible, he was controlling the entire Brahmanda at one time. You showed to the world how insignificant he is in front of you. So 3 verses Prahlad speaks on time factor. This is one of the verses where he says this. And then this is the most important verse. He says, Sayitam nirjita kakum ekarat pishayan priyan Yatopajosham bhunjano natrupyat ajitendriyaha. He says, although he was a Ekarat, a singular king for the entire universe, Brahma is also a singular king. Hiranyakashipu is also like a singular king at the moment. What is the difference? Brahma is the son of the Supreme Lord. born in the lotus navel of the Supreme Lord. And Brahma is the obedient son of the Lord. He received the Vedas from Vishnu and he became Acharya in our line. First Acharya, and then he is handing over the Vedas to us for us to read and learn. And he is a surrendered son of the Supreme Lord. And Hiranyakashipu is a rebellious son of the Supreme Lord. That's the difference. So both type of sons are there in this world, isn't it? And Brahma is an appointed chief living entity of this universe. Whereas was Hiranyakashipu appointed by the Lord? He is saying that, I am a self-made master. Nowadays, self-made master is a very common thing. You become your own master. By his own penance, he became master, exploitative master. So, in this way, although everything was yathopajosham bunjana means whatever he wanted to enjoy, it was at his beck and everyone was at his beck and call. Everything was for his enjoyment in this world. There was no restriction for him. See, we all have some restriction. Why? Because sometimes you may not have enough money. Say, you want to go by flight, the charges may be too much, 20,000 rupees. Then you may consider that, oh, it's too much. But for Hiranyakashipu, there was no problem. He had just started plane. Whatever he wanted, he could get. Yatopajosham bunjano. But what is the result of that? Natrupyat. Means what? Not satisfied. Why? Ajitendriya. That is the bottom line. If we are uncontrolled in our senses, even if you become king of the whole world, you will never be happy. And if you are controlled in your senses, even if you are like Sudama Brahman, poverty stricken, still you will be satisfied. So this is the very important message from Bhagavatam. We have to control our mind and control our senses by directing them to Krishna's service. And that will, one of the years, 4-5 years ago, one couple invited me for Bhagavatam installation in their house. So, Pune only. So they told me that, Swamiji, in our house, we don't have enough place for the program. So if you're just doing it outside the house, is it all right? Yes. I said, okay. So when I went to their home, I saw, father, mother, and 3 children. All of them wearing beautiful tilak, kantimala. And the boy was playing mridanga and the father was doing kirtan. They were all dancing and welcoming. So I went. So when I entered the house, it was like something like, at the most by 10 by 10 or 12 by 12 or something like that. Only one room only. That's all is the house. But they made a big altar occupying the whole house practically. Big altar with Radha Vrindavan Chandra and, everybody. So I thought that is only the entrance room. But he said there is no more. Only this is the only room we have. They had a kitchen also there only. And so they made the altar in the middle of the house. So the backside they have some privacy. And the front, very small place. But they were all having a big beaming smile on their face. Very ecstatically situated. So he was telling Prabhu, I chant 16, my wife chant 16. My children are all chanting 8 rounds and everything. He said it took me 4 or 5 years to make money to purchase this Bhagavatam set. He was doing some LED board kind of business. In a month, 2 or 3 he gets. He makes some money with that. He says, God is so kind that whatever we need for monthly, he gives. And our life is going on. Poor people, but blissful people. Money may not be there, but Krishna is there. So they're very happy in that situation also. On the other hand, in my travels, one fellow told me that, Prabhuji, I will take 1 Bhagavatam set, but you have to meet my brother. I said, you are a devotee, but your brother is not a devotee. He wanted or you want to give him? Prabhuji, I want to give him because he never wanted it. But he is a crorepati. So one brother became crorepati, but his other brother is a middle class man. So he took me to his house, and such a big house. A huge house, many rooms, looks like some palace. So then, of course, the Crorepati man was there, his wife and his son, daughter, they were all sitting. And when I was speaking in Hindi, here 2 servant maids and 1 servant, they were sitting. So I spoke the katha for an hour I spoke. So I generally, when I go to such places, I try to revise also, so that they will know something at least. So at the end I asked, say 1 point from the class. And that rich man saying, Bahut badhiya bola Swamiji aapne. Very nice. Then I asked, at least one point you tell. He said, you are all very exalted, saintly persons. You have come to our home and that is our good fortune. And they were too much busy in giving me juice, arranging one, what do you call it, that cloth to put around my some kind of this thing and bringing a big garland from the market and putting a garland. I said, you forget about all this, just listen what I am speaking. You know. So he was telling, bring this, bring that and everything. But when I asked questions, these two servant maids and one servant, they were answering all questions. Yes. They have understood everything, every bit of the lecture. Before I ask questions, they are only recollecting all the points. And they are just working in that house, the poor people. So it's immaterial whether you are poor or you are rich. It's immaterial. Ultimately, if you are able to understand the spiritual subject and surrender to the Lord, you are blessed. And they were participating in kirtan, clapping hands with so much enthusiasm. And I told these rich people, you sit down and clap hands and sing, take part in the kirtan. But somehow or other, they could not bring their mind and intelligence there because they have too much anxiety. So then this younger brother was telling me, Prabhu, he is not in a good mood. So he had 5-6 businesses. So one business is not doing well. Others are making a lot of money. But this fellow is so unhappy because of that. Just one business is not going well. Although he's a big crorepati. That same thing I thought. Natrapyat ajitendriya. He is having uncontrolled senses, so this fellow is unhappy. But actually, how can I control my senses? Rishikesha Sevanam. There is no other second way. All other second, tertiary and other ways of controlling senses will eventually prove to fail. Like the impersonalist way of controlling the senses. That's all cheating. The real control of senses means the senses should be utilized in service of the master of senses, Krishna. Then only, then one can become a Goswami. Otherwise one is a Godas. So Natrapyat Ajitendriya. So Hiranyakashipu became completely dissatisfied. So I told you about Hiranyakashipu, and the extreme demoniac behavior he showed, and Prahlad showed extreme devotee behavior. Similarly, see the penance performed by Hiranyakashipu versus penance performed by Prahlad. Prahlad just did Navavida Bhakti. He chanted the holy name, and he did kirtan, he danced with his friends, he spoke the philosophy of Bhagavata Dharma. Because Prahlad knew that Bhagavata Dharma means you don't have any enemy in this world. Not only humans, all living beings are Krishna's children, they are all part and parcels. Krishna says in 15.7, what he says? Mamaivamsho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. See, mama eva amsho, he says. Certainly, all these creatures are my part and parcels alone, he says. They are not part of anybody. They are only my part and parcels. 14.4, what he says? Sarvayonishu kaunteya murtaya sambhavanti yaha tasam brahma mahadyonir aham bija pradaha pita. So Prahlad exactly saw like that. He saw everybody is a child of God and everybody is a servant of God and everybody should be respectfully treated. Everybody needs to be facilitated to remember the Supreme Lord. So Prahlad Maharaj's mood was that he was Ajata Shatru, whereas Hiranyakashipu divided between demigods and demons, Parapaksh and Swapaksh. These are our people, they are those people. We will make allies with our people and we will fight against other people. So he had that type of envious mentality, envious towards demigods. Surat Visham, it is said. Similarly envious towards Lord Vishnu, Krishna Dvit. So because of that envy, he didn't go to Vishnu for seeking benediction. You see? So his performance of penances were extraordinary, but the goal of such penances is what? Just enjoying the senses, isn't it? Like you see, this is also tapasya, you see here. Isn't it? This is Bombay tapasya. So, this is also tapasya, but is it divine tapasya? No, it is just for filling your belly tapasya. So, yes, people do a lot of austerities, no doubt. But Hiranyakashipu also did severe austerities. But it was all for self-serving austerity. Therefore, Rishabhadev says, what he says? Tapo divyam putraka yena sattvam shuddhyet yasmat brahma saukyam tu anantam. He says, if you do tapo divyam, then sattvam shuddhyet, then your chitta will be purified. But if you do material tapasya, your mind and senses become putrefied, which means you become more vicious, venomous, more dangerous by only doing material tapasya. Actually, all the demons who did material tapasya and got lot of powers, they became very proud. Is it not true? And they did so much atyachar, so much problem in this world. So many demoniac people. They also go to forest and they also do penances. They become very powerful. In the modern times, somebody may not go to forest, but there are many people who use their brain, use their learning for creating havoc in the material world. Like you can see the chemical industries who are sending their effluents into the rivers, and when the cows drink that chemical water, they die because they are not treated, isn't it? Sometimes they give some bribe to some health inspector and they save themselves from paying the amount for treating those chemicals, isn't it? And the result is poor people and the poor animals, they suffer because of that. Every field you take, we can show exploitative tendency. Yeah, any field you take. So actually when Krishna made this world, he has made it for a purpose. The purpose is the jivas, should revive their Krishna consciousness and go back to Godhead. Although they are allowed to use the food, clothing, shelter for keeping the body and soul together. The end goal is to quit this world and go back to Godhead, which is our original home. So, but any living entity who is creating a trouble in that goal, they are punished by the Lord. For example, you can see when a surgeon takes a knife, he also cuts open the belly. Is it not true? But then a surgeon is given a medal or is glorified many times that he performed a very, very difficult surgery and he saved someone's life. Isn't it? The same knife taken by a thief who is also doing something with your belly. Isn't it? And he is put behind the bars and he is counted as a murderer and he is punished severely. Isn't it? Both appear to be doing similar activity. So in this world also Arjuna and Duryodhana, they both have chariots, they have their horses, they have their flags, both are fighting. They look very similar. But there is a gulf of difference between the two. One is acting on Krishna's order. One is acting against Krishna's will. Duryodhana didn't agree for Shanti Dut message. One is acting against Krishna's will. So we all have to see in our lives, what type of penances am I performing? What is our penance? With our body, mind and words. From the morning to night, how am I spending my time? The purest platform is Krishnarthe Akila Cheshta. Krishnarthe, Cheshta means effort with body, mind and words. Akila means all. Arthe means for the purpose of. Krishnarthe means all my body, mind, words, efforts should be directed to please the Supreme Lord. That's the meaning. So then our tapasya is well performed. Tapasvino dana para. Tapasvino dana para manasvino. So that's the verse in the Bhagavatam, which is Sukadeva Goswami in the beginning. He want to offer his obeisances. Tasmai Subhadra Shavasya Samonama. So in the beginning he says, Tapaspino dana para yashasvino manasvino mantravido sumangala kshemam na vindanti vina yadarpanam tasmai subhadra shravase namo namaha. He's saying, everybody, whether you are a tapasvi, you are a yashasvi, or you are a mantravido, very expert in chanting of the mantras, you are a singer, sing for Krishna. You are a chanter, chant the glories of Krishna. You are a tapasvi, perform tapasya for Krishna. So he says that anything not done in relation to the Lord is pain producing. So that is the difference between Hiranyakashipu's penance and Prahlada's penance. So this pastime goes on to establish the truth that there are many controllers in this world, lower and higher in their ability. but there is only one controller who is not controllable by anybody. Prabhupada presented it so beautiful. Prabhupada says that a big aeroplane is standing in the airport, which can carry sometimes 800 or 1,000 people also. And one small pilot is walking, tak, 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 and then he's boarding the plane, and then the plane takes off. That means the living entity is also controller. But he is not the ultimate controller, because when the petrol is over in the plane, it has to come down. Correct? Huh? Whereas Krishna is supreme controller, he can put Saturn and Jupiter and big planets in orbit going on for millions of years. Krishna can create a sun. You don't have to supply any fuel to the sun. See, daily you have to supply fuel to your car. Whereas for sun, who is supplying fuel? He's called as Ashesha Teja. Yasyajnaya Brahmati Sambrita Kala Chakro. What is that famous verse? Chakchuresha Sabita Sakala Grahanam Raja Samasta Suramurti Rashesha Tejaha Yasyajnaya Brahmati Sambrita Kala Chakro Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. And the Govinda's order, the sun is going on for millions of years with Ashesha Tej. Nobody is supplying him fuel. He's going on giving heat and light unlimitedly, like that. So Krishna is such a controller that no one equal to him or no one greater than him. And Hiranyakashipu also wanted to occupy that position. He wanted to remain here forever, occupying the central pivotal position, which is the living entity's foolishness. He did it for a while, for a short while. After that he was finished. He was captured by the Lord. Because now why does the Lord not allow a living entity to be a central pivotal figure and take lead? Because we have no ability to run the things the way the Lord can run. For example, Krishna in the spiritual world, he is a pivotal figure, but all living beings are aligned around him, and he can keep all the living entities in their position properly. When it comes to us, like you can see Hiranyakashipu, as soon as he got the central post, just see what he did. Therefore it is said, if you want to know the character of a man, give him a post. And then you will see what he does with women and what he does with money. He will certainly exploit the things in this world. Because the living entity wants to occupy Krishna's position of being a pivotal figurehead. Neither do we have the ability, nor do we have the character to do that. But a pure devotee of the Lord, like Yudhishthira Maharaj or Parikshit Maharaj, Arjun, when they take the central position, they actually always keep Krishna in their hearts. Like if you see Yudhishthira Maharaj conducted that famous Rajsuya Yajna. Correct, no? Yeah. And to glorify Krishna and giving him the Agra Puja for him. So, the pure devotees of the Lord, like Bharat, brother of Rama, he took the Paduka of Ram and kept it on the Simhasana, and they daily offered flower to it, offered chamar, worshipped. Then only he has the right to rule. Therefore he gets the strength to rule the world. So even the greatest of the kings who rule the world, by keeping Krishna in the center, they could rule the world very effectively. Because keeping Krishna in the center is same as spiritual world. Yeah. So you can see Hiranyakashipu is very mighty, Prahlad is very small. But Prabhupada says, although it is said in the Shastra, Jivo Jivasya Jivanam, the Phalguni Tatra Mahatam, the mightier one exploits the weaker one. But Prabhupada also says, but the weaker one also can trouble the mightier one. And Prabhupada gave an example. The tiger, when it comes out of the den in the forest, there is one bird which makes a particular type of sound. Phew, 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 like that makes sound. Hearing that sound, all the smaller animals, they flee. Like rabbits and deers, they all run away, knowing that the fellow is out. The tiger is out of the den. And the tiger becomes very angry on this bird. Sometimes this bird sits on the neck of the tiger also. Making sound here. So then the tiger, that is shouting. Then the bird flies and sits on the branch of the tree and tiger can't do anything. Which means the smaller one also gives trouble to bigger one. And the bigger one gives some trouble to smaller one, like a tiger is giving trouble to deer and things like that. Similarly, when parents are grown up, when the small baby is born, sometimes the parents may control the child. Hey, sit here. Hey, don't do this. Hey, don't do that. Huh? But when the children grow up beyond 16, 20, then they say, you do your thing, I'll do my thing. Huh? And they trouble the parents also in this world. Material world is like that. In material world, the bigger one troubles smaller one troubles bigger one. Huh? So here in this case, Hiranyakashipu is the bigger one, was troubling smaller one. Who? Prahlad. And Prahlada's confidence level in Vishnu, that disturbed the mind of Hiranyakashipu. Huh? One day Hiranyakashipu said, Prahlad, till now I tried to kill you through so many soldiers and other people. Today I will take the sword in my own hands and I will sever your head from your body. Let us see your Vishnu, whom you are claiming to be your protector. Let him come and protect you. So you can imagine now this is like the ultimatum. Huh? He's taking the sword and coming, running, dashing towards Prahlad. Huh? And Prahlad is standing in front of Hiranyakashipu with great confidence, cheerfully smiling, with no fear. He's not weeping. He's not angry. He's not taking another sword in the hand. He's not running away. He is not complaining to police because Hiranyakashipu is also police also. Huh? He is a government. Therefore, Hiranyakashipu was very shocked. He asked, Prahlad, where are you getting such a strength with which you have the audacity to overpower me? Prahlad said, my dear father, your strength, Brahma's strength and my strength, the source of all these strengths is only one, which is Vishnu. Again he became very angry. He's telling Vishnu, Vishnu. So, and he said, my dear father, don't be so angry and so don't be so agitated. Be peaceful in your mind. Only those who are uncontrolled in their senses and those who have failed to harness their mind, they get agitated like this. Calm down yourself. Think very carefully about how, Lord Hare is running the whole universe. He is our master. He is very lovable, endearing. So when he heard it, he said, oh, you say that you have, controlled your senses and mind and I haven't. You have the audacity to, find fault with me. So he said, you are always saying Vishnu. Where is that Vishnu? Tell me. And then that is how Hiranyakashipu Prahlad dialogue is a very important dialogue, which I will speak in the evening. So these are lessons from Hiranyakashipu, you see. The struggle of divine versus demoniac. Actually, these two forces are there in this world. You see, the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the 10 tattvas of Bhagavatam, Uti is the principle for the 7th canto. Uti means the urge. So Prahlad had the inner urge to do devotional service. And Hiranyakashipu had the inner urge to act demoniacally. Correct, no? How they got these two urges? Because Prahlad was in the womb of his mother and he heard sermons from the great saint Narada. So any Mataji who is Garbhavati, she should hear Bhagavad Katha. When she is hearing, the child will get inputs. Then the child will get the urge to do devotional service. So Prahlad Maharaj, when he came out, he had such a transcendental urge to behave in mode of goodness and exhibit transcendental symptoms and have possessed love for Krishna and also, preach to his friends and everything. Somebody can take care of these children? Yeah. And as far as Hiranyakashipu, where did he get his nature? Because the Chatushkumaras came and they became angry and they chastised Jai Vijay. So that gave the Uti for angry behavior because they cursed the two fellows to become demons. So then by receiving that curse, their angry disposition was aroused in Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. That type of nature was awakened. So, therefore, this divine and demoniac you see in the same canto. I spoke about the material and spiritual penance. Supreme Lord is the supreme controller. Prabhupada says when we say Krishna is supreme controller, doesn't mean we are not controller. We are also controller, but we are minute controller. Then there are minute controllers, bigger and bigger controllers. The ultimate controller is Krishna. Therefore, it is in our interest to surrender to him rather than trying to fight against him. So from Narasimha, Lord came not only for Asura Samhar, but he came for Bhakta Uddhar or Prema Bhakti Prachar. See, Lord Narsimha is exchanging pure love with Prahlad by hearing his prayers and touching his head and keeping him on his lap. At the same time, he also, you know, tore open the belly of Hiranyakashipu. We are seeing below his hollow here. You see? You saw this? Already is gone. His dead is lying, isn't it? So, this is the beauty of Krishna. You see, Kaliya Daman Leela, Krishna is dancing on the hoods of Kaliya. At the same time, all the devatas are showering flowers, Gandharvas are singing and playing instruments. Krishna is such an amazing master. He enjoys his Leela also, same time he purifies somebody also. Below his lotus feet is purifying whom? Kaliya. And above the lotus feet is pleasing whom? Vajbasis, devatas, everybody is pleased. They are all enjoying the kirtan and dance of Krishna. And Govardhan Leela, it is opposite. Above the Govardhan, one fellow is getting purified. Who is that? Indra. And below Govardhan, Krishna was enjoying pastimes with his devotees. So Rasaraj under Giriraj. He was enjoying pastimes like that. Which means Krishna can do simultaneously both. I think for us it's very difficult, isn't it? Imagine you are in an angry mood with one devotee. How can you be smiling with another devotee? Can any of you simultaneously smile and be angry? See, Krishna has hot eye, which is sun, and cool eye, which is moon. With hot eye, looking at Hiranyakashipu, and cool eye, looking at Prahlad. Simultaneously, he can resolve these contradictions. Amazing personality. So, he is coming to exchange love with Prahlad at the same time. He is also, purifying Hiranyakashipu. You see, like the baby lion, cub, has no fear of mother lion. But other animals may be fearful, like the deer and rabbit and all, isn't it? Why? Because the baby lion is the same jati as the mother. Similarly, when we also awaken our Sachidananda Swarupam in love with Krishna, the Jiva and Krishna, they can gel very well in the Vishuddha Sattva platform. Because in Vishuddha Sattva platform, we have no material desires. We simply want to love and serve. And we respect all living beings. So then that matches very well with Krishna's attitude also. Like Krishna, although he is Supreme Godhead, he considers himself servant of his pure devotees. So he's completely free from false ego. Such a very joyful platform it is. When one is free from false pride, arrogance, and such kind of mentality of being an enjoyer, then that is the happiest attitude. So Lord and the devotee are happy. Yeah, this is what I told you, contradiction. Vajradapi kathoram, kusumadapi kamal. So Lord had cutting tool like nails, with which he tore open the belly of Hiranyakashipu and wore his intestines. But his palm was soft like a lotus when he touched. Swapadamulam patitam tamarbakam vilokya deva kripaya pariplutah uttapya tatshirshni adadat karambujam. See, ambujam is used. When kalarki vitrastadiyam kritabayam, and Prahlad came and fell at the feet of Narasimha. Narasimha immediately looked, who is that touching my feet? And he saw the small 5-year-old child, so tender, beautiful child, Prahlad. He lifted him up with his both hands, and then he touched his head with his palms, which were like a kara, ambujam. Ambujam means Tavakara Kamalavare, isn't it? Tavakara Kamalavare na kamadbhuta shringa dalita hiranyakashipu tanu vringam Kesavadrita narahari rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Tavakara Renakam Bhutanu Vringam Kesavadritana. So this is a rare photo of smiling Narasimha, isn't it? Actually, he can only smile when he touches Prahlad's head. Because of contact with his pure loving devotee. So, and there's angry Narasimha also, and smiling Narasimha. So the contradiction is resolved there. See, when one tries to cheat the Supreme Lord, then one cheats oneself, isn't it? One should not become envious of Krishna, you see. There was one boy walking on the road. So when he saw the clouds rumbling in the sky, he said, "Hey, why are you rumbling? Keep quiet," he said. But the clouds continued to rumble. They make a sound. 2, 3 times he was shouting and the clouds didn't listen to him. So he looked up at the cloud, "Thoo!" Like that he spat. So guess what must have happened? It came back and fell on his cheeks. So his own saliva fell on his cheeks. Similarly, one tries to cheat Krishna, then one cheats oneself. Yeah. You know, when I had gone to Bhopal, one Mataji was telling, "Prabhu, in my home I am the only devotee. My husband, my son, and husband's parents, nobody is a devotee. And they all tease me when I am offering bhoga to Lord. They're asking, you're keeping food in front of the picture. Is the picture going to eat it? Ha ha ha, like that they make fun out of me. I feel very uneasy to live in such a place, but I can't run away anywhere. I have to live in the house." So I was answering that question. I said, yeah, practically everybody now in the mobile or in the computer, you keep photos of your relatives and friends and sweet memories. And sometime or other, you go through those videos. How many of you do that? Videos or pictures? Correct? You go through. But what is it on a computer screen? These are only combination of pixels. So you tell your family members, why are you so mad after the pixels? Pixels, electronic pixels, correct now? So, but when they see the pixel combination, they are not seeing the pixels. What are they seeing? They are seeing persons. When you watch a photo of near and dear ones in your computer screen, you are not seeing the combination of the pixels in the computer. You are seeing your as if your real relative is there. Similarly, although the deity form of the Lord is made of stone or wood or metal or anything like that, you don't see that combination of metal or wood or stone. You see your Lord of your love. You see. So that is only possible when you look at the Lord with eyes of love. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena santas sadeva hridayeshu vilokayanti. So that condition is there. Krishna says, you look at me with love, then I will appear to you like Krishna. You look at me with eye of envy, then I will look like a stone or I will look like a wood for you. You will not see me. It's not possible. There is a condition. Just like when you are coming into the temple hall, you can't come with chapel inside the temple hall. You have to leave it at the entrance. Correct, no? That condition you have to follow. So, but atheistic fools, they don't want to follow the condition and they want the Lord to appear in front of them. Prabhupada says, definitely Lord will appear for atheistic people at the time of death. And any intelligent, sane living entity can see that, as I am approaching old age, my bodily strength is being taken away. My money in the form of bank balance is going to somebody else at the time of death. And most importantly, the duration of my life is getting reduced. Imagine a man lives for 80 years, as the summer and winter seasons keep changing and the years keep passing. His ayush is being reduced. Lord is stealing. See, if somebody steals your mobile or laptop, you may not mind, but somebody steals your duration of life. And the day of death, everything is stolen away. So in this way, the Lord is stealing one's duration of life as Kala. But the foolish atheists cannot see that. But they will only see God coming at the time of death when it is too late. And then they are rewarded with the ghastly future for the evil actions that they have performed during the course of their life. But a devotee of the Lord sees Krishna 24 hours a day. There is no... So one devotee asked Prabhupada, how can we see Krishna everywhere and in everything? Prabhupada said, look at the water in the river. Krishna says. And they are walking in the garden, the sunlight is touching your body. Pravasmi shashi suryayo. You will see that. Prabhupada said, you are asking how to see Krishna, but I am asking, how can you not see Krishna? He is everywhere, pervading us through his energies. So that is why when Hiranyakashipu asked Prahlad, show me, where is your Lord? Prahlad said, he is everywhere. So just like sometimes you have a pen in your bag, in your pocket, and you are searching it everywhere. And then your son or daughter may show you, Papa, your pen is in your bag, pocket. Similarly, Lord Hari is in your heart only, but you're searching him everywhere because of Dehatma Buddhi, because of bodily consciousness. So he tried to cheat God by getting immortality, but he himself got cheated. Krishna says, Dyutam Kalayatam. If anybody tries to cheat me, they will themselves get cheated, he says. Also, is Narsimha's anger. Some people say that, why did God jump out of the pillar in such a ferocious form, making such a loud noise? Hearing Hiranyakashipu, will all people not get frightened? Ideally, we say one should be very calm, cool, collected. You shouldn't become angry, we say, no? But actually, Lord's anger is liberating. It is not binding. Our anger may be binding because Lord is liberating whom? Hiranyakashipu. And is giving great pleasure to Prahlad. Was Prahlad afraid of this form? No, he says, Naham vivemya jitateti bhayanakasya jihvarkanetra bhaguti rabasogra damstrat antra srajakshata jakesha shankukarna nirhradabhitati gibari vinnakagrat tastosmyaham krapana vatsala dussaho. You know what he says? My dear Lord, when I look at your face with mane soaked with blood, and your cutting tool like sharp nails, eyes like sun and moon, and your hair dissipating the clouds in the sky, and you tearing the body of my father, I am not afraid of all this. Because, you are a personification of love. I only see you as love personified. But I am afraid of another thing, he said. What is it? I am afraid of hearing the atheistic criticisms of the non-devotees who are plunging themselves in deeper and deeper samsara and not willing to get out of this world to go back to Godhead. When I look at their stature and position and look at their, foolishness and atheism, on one hand I feel pity, on the other hand I hate their association. And I am afraid that some such words they are very painful for me. If somebody criticizes you, that's very piercing and painful. That I am afraid of, not this form, he said. So Lord's anger is liberating anger. Lord fulfilled all the conditions. He came at twilight, not day or night. Narasimha Bhagwan ki. See, Prabhupada is saying an atheist will be shown God at the time of death. A theist will see God 24 hours a day. So Lord finished all the other. So our anger is binding. Lord's anger is liberating. So these are the summary points. Lord's avatar is for Bhakta Uddhar and Prema Bhakti Prachar is his prominent reason. Asura Samhar is secondary for him because he can kill Asuras. If you wanted to kill Hiranyakashipu, you can just block one of his arteries or something like that. It's not a very big deal for him. Anytime somebody dies by serpent bite, somebody dies by heart attack, somebody dies by this, different ways. But Lord actually comes especially to establish Bhagavata Dharma, Paro Dharma, Shuddha Bhakti. All contradictions are resolved in him. And one who cheats God cheats himself. Last thing about Prahlad. See, Prahlad is a missionary preacher. And he knew the art of convincingly presenting philosophy. It's very important. So, his friends asked many questions about, material enjoyment. Because they are all born in which families? So, they are born in demoniac families. So, our devotee children also should be trained not only to memorize shlokas or sing bhajans or worship the deity at home, which is all very good, but they should be made to think aloud and ask questions, and they should be presented with challenging questions to bolster their faith very deeply. Then when they go in the outside world, they can present very logical arguments to the people outside. Like here, Prahlad's friends were asking Prahlad, why do you say, at the age of 5 we should take to Krishna consciousness? We are all young boys, it's time to play. But Prahlad said, my dear friends, in a span of 100 years, 20 years are gone in play. Last 20 years are gone in bedridden, passing stool and urine. Huh? Half the lifespan is gone in sleeping for sense gratifiers. Huh? Another half is gone for doing job and everything. At the end of the day, if you have 100 years lifespan, you get only 5-10 years out of that. Therefore, Shubhasya Shigram. Huh? As soon as you are born, try to take out some time for Krishna consciousness. Plus, a green bamboo can be bent, but a dry bamboo will break. So those who didn't take to Krishna consciousness in the early years, suddenly at the age of 60 or 80, for them to take to it becomes a bit challenging. Huh? Because they are having a set pattern of reading newspaper, drinking chai, watching movie. Huh? They get used to it. For them to change becomes very difficult. I remember in Camp Temple, one old man wanted to take initiation from one of the Maharajas. So 6 years he was chanting 16 rounds and he was not able to get initiation. I asked the spiritual master, Maharaj, why you have made him wait for so long? He said, see, he has given up everything except tobacco. That one thing he says he can't give it up. So he's still waiting. So he is waiting to give it up. I am waiting to see him give it up. And then only I can give. So it becomes difficult for those people. Huh? But one who was practicing from young age, he said. Then they asked him, he said, Yada yapurushasya Vishnu pado pasarpanam. Yadesha sarva bhutanam priya atmeshwara suhrit. He's saying, why should I worship Vishnu? My dear friends, Vishnu is naturally lovable by the jivas. Priya. And he is Atmeshwar. He is the master of the jivas. Suhrit. He is the well-wisher of all jivas. Huh? That means Vishnu also is a well-wisher of all of us. And we also are fond of him in our pure platform. And he is our master. He is Atmeshwar. Because servant should serve the master. Like for example, when you go to company, you serve your boss. When you are in the school, you serve your principal or the teachers. Everybody has a master to serve. Vishnu is the eternal master. Like that he preached to them. Then they said, that is all right, Prahlad, but you see, what about money making? Because our Shanda Maraga teachers are teaching that you should make money, you should, do politics and everything. What do you think about that? Then he said, Tat prayaso na kartavyo. Don't chase after money, money, money. Money is honey. He said, Tat prayaso na kartavyo. Yataha ayur vyayah param. It is simply going to, either be taken away from you when you are alive, or you will earn a lot of money, save in the bank, and you will die and go, somebody else will enjoy it. So he said, although it is true that one should be responsible to his wife and children and family, mother, father, and earn some money, 8 hours, Prabhupada says, if you work, and whatever money comes to you, that is your takdir. It's written in your fate. 8-9 hours, that's all. After that, you should give time for the family, you should give time for God. Give some time for God in the morning hours. Give some time for the family in the evening hours. Daytime, go for profession. 9 to 6 max. That's about 8 to 9 hours. If one is not going to follow this pattern, then one will not give time to family and God. And one will become extremely greedy. And one will become screwed up in the head and one will become mad. Money, money, money. After that, there are people who have ruined their health. There are people who have broken the relationships within the family. And due to lack of God consciousness, people have become extremely greedy in their minds. So one has to have a balance in life. So, and then they asked him, okay, we will take to Krishna consciousness, but what do we get out of that? They asked. He said, Na tata vindate kshemam mukunda charanambujam. If you become Krishna conscious, you will quit this material world and go back to God. And you will get eternal loving service to Lord Vishnu, where there is no old age, no disease, no death. You will go back. None of any other activities of this world can take you there, except Krishna consciousness. Therefore, you should chant and dance the names of Hare and practice bhakti. And they said, but Prahlad, unless you work hard, how can a beggar become a billionaire? So Prahlad said, no, sir. By any amount of hard work, you cannot appreciably change your material life. Like, for example, Luna, Maruti, and Benz car. You keep a race from Pune to Lonavala. Who will come first? Benz. Who will come second? Maruti. Who will come third? Yeah. Similarly, all of us have bodies which are like a vehicle. Luna, no matter how much you press, it has a limit of the speed. Similarly, your physical abilities are all different. huh? Your mental abilities are different. Your intellectual abilities are different. And we all are rigidly awarded the quantity of beauty and the intelligence and the wealth that we all deserve as per our Purva Janma Karma. And you cannot too much change it. You can change it a little bit, but not too much. If you try to change it too much, then you will be paying away the money to doctors and lawyers and everybody. It will go away. On the other hand, Prahlad said, spiritually there is no limit set. You can become a pure devotee in this very life. There is no restriction for advancing in spiritual life. In material life, advancement is restricted. But spiritual life, there is no restriction. Therefore, you should take to Krishna consciousness. Like that, he very beautifully presented. So, and in material life also, Krishna can make a beggar into billionaire if he wants, like he did for Sudama Brahman, or he did for the fruit vendor lady. So leave it to Krishna. Krishna can change your destiny also. You surrender to him. And I don't say you become idle. You do your material duties, but you should have a balance between your material spiritual. Just like you should not go to 103, 104 degree Fahrenheit. And at the same time, we don't say make it 0. You make it 98.6 degree Fahrenheit. So one Mataji asked me, with her husband also she came, Radheshyam Prabhu, you tell in your lecture always, don't go for money. Please tell my husband, go for money. He says, Prabhuji says, no requirement. So then I told him, see, you have a wife and child, you have to manage them, correct now? You need a house, you need a vehicle. We don't go to like pendulum. One side of the pendulum is, extremely chasing after money and sacrificing spiritual life and family life and everything. Another extreme is being a lazy bum, sitting at home, eating on the dowry brought by the wife. That is another extreme, like a parasite. Both are condemned. There has to be balance, which Prabhupada gives us the balance. 8-9 hours, he says. So Prahlad very beautifully preached to his friends. And his menial servant of the Lord, he is a pure master, is Lord Narsimha, and pure servant is Prahlad. And he had no impure motives like Hiranyakashipu, you see. And he was malice free. Because he was praying for the deliverance of his demoniac father, Hiranyakashipu. Sitting on the lap of Narasimha, Narasimha is repeatedly insisting, tell me, what do you want? I want to gift you something. He said, okay, you please deliver my father. Let my father not go to hell. Let him go back to Godhead. So Prabhupada says that we all have some affinity to our blood relatives. Our mother, our father, brother, sister. So naturally Prahlad, although his father tortured him so much, still there will be some affection which will be there. So he purified that affection by requesting the Lord to liberate him. Like that. Similarly, we all can also bring our relatives to Krishna consciousness and we can purify that attachment. He had no malice towards his father. Imagine somebody slaps you, beats you, kicks you. How can you not have malice? That is Prahlada's exalted nature. There is a verse which says, this one, Sujano nayati vairam parahita buddhir vinasha kalepi chedepi chandanattaru mukam surabayati kutarasya. If you take a kuladi and hit a sandalwood tree, it will render the tip of the kuladi fragrant. Which one? The sandalwood tree. The Vaishnavas are like that. The Vaishnavas, more they are troubled and tortured, the more their good qualities come out. Prahlad was like that. The more his father troubled, the whole world could see Prahlada's devotion more and more. Otherwise, we won't be talking so much about him. Yeah. Just as inferior gold is purified by heating, the devotees will purify themselves by showing lack of animosity to attain qualities like Prahlad. That means great saintly persons pray to Prahlad for this quality of freedom from malice. Yeah. And at the time of getting darshan of Lord Narsimha, Prahlad said, oh Lord Narsimha, when I am looking at you, I am remembering my spiritual master Narada, without whose guidance I would not have got your darshan. Although your darshan is the greatest achievement for anyone in this world, I am still remembering my Guru and my Guru's seva, because if he didn't connect me to you, I won't have met you. Huh? So, like that he says, Evam janam nipatitam prabhavahi kupe kama vikama manuya prapatan prasangat kritpatmasat sura rishina bhagavan grihita soham katam nu visruje tava bhritya seva. I was fallen into the well, a pit of snakes and scorpions and deadly things like demoniac association, he says. Huh? But my spiritual master picked me and brought me out and engaged me in your devotional service and made me as pure as himself, he says. That means, my Guru gave me the chanting process, he gave me the devotional service process, study of the scriptures, and he purified me. Although I am born in a demoniac family with demoniac body, demoniac blood flowing in my body, now I am behaving like a devotee. How is this possible? It is only by the transcendental touch of my spiritual master. Otherwise, I am supposed to be acting like my father. If I am a seminal son of Hiranyakashipu, then I would be behaving like a demon. Actually, this is true for all of us. In our life also, you can see that until we came across our spiritual master and ISKCON devotees and Prabhupada books, we were taking another direction. I was just thinking, when we were in school days, we used to get this song book, but not Vaishnava song book. What song book? Cinema song book. In South India, cinema song books are available, 4 or 5 pages. And you first watch a movie and you come out and purchase cinema song book in the shop right opposite to the theater. And then go home and memorize the songs. And then keep la 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 la, keep singing. Keep singing the song. Now, by Prabhupada's grace and our spiritual master's grace, now we are singing what songs? Vaishnava songs, isn't it? Similarly, you see on the movie screen, I like this actor, I like that actress, and that actor, actress, if they are acting, any movie they put up, we have to go, isn't it? How many of you had favorites before? You didn't have favorites at all. Now slowly they are raising. I also had favorites, don't worry. We had favorites. But now we have understood those heroes are all zeros. Now we have got Nayakanam Shiroratam. Krishna is the ultimate hero. He is Shadaishwarya Purna Krishna, Hoya Suryopama. So thanks to Prabhupada and his disciples who saved us. Otherwise, imagine hooking on to such material heroes and heroines. Where will we go? We will be repeatedly born again and again. So therefore, like Prahlad, we should look back at our own old life, our foolish life of sense gratification before coming to Krishna consciousness. We never knew that you should wear a fresh dress every day. Just you wear a shirt and just put it in the hanger for some time, and then 2, 3, 4 days, when it starts stinking, then only people wash. Correct, na? Now, after coming to Krishna consciousness, every day morning you wear a new dress, a fresh dress. So culturally, socially, spiritually, intellectually, in all respect, you can see the spiritual master's touch in our life has blossomed a new, different personality within us. And it has laid a road for us to go back to Godhead. So we cannot sufficiently express our gratitude. Like there is one verse which says in Bhagavatam, Yairi Drishi Bhagavato Rachananubhadat. What is the verse? Next line. Ekantibi. Ekantibi. Pratipaditana Tushyan Padabra Karuna Sakratena Nityam Ko Nama Tat Karoti Vinoda Patram. He says, oh my dear spiritual masters, what can I do for you? It's like taking Ganga and offering it back to Ganga. Even if I speak some words, these transcendental words with which I am glorifying you, that also I have learned from you only. As such, my mouth was filled with all material words before. So you have modified my life, you have transformed my heart. It would be foolishness on our part to think that we can repay the Guru for what he has done for us. Even million lives we serve Guru, still it is short. Therefore we say, Chakudan Dilojay, imagine my Prabhu say. So this gratitude is the fountainhead of all good qualities in spiritual life. This gratitude will give us conviction, it will give us stability, it will give us satisfaction, it will give us steadiness, it will give us the strength to go on and on beyond death also. So Prahlad had that type of gratitude. So these are the 4 lessons from Prahlad. He was a missionary preacher in convincingly presenting philosophy. He was a menial servant of Lord, pure servant, with no motivations. He was free from malice for any living entity, including his father. He was a lover of all jivas. He was a paradukha dukhi. And always meditating on Guru's mercy. Srila Prabhupada ki, Sringadev Bhagavan ki, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. That is one very beautiful.
श्रीमत्पयोनिधिनिकेतन चक्रपाणे भोगीन्द्र भोगमणिरञ्जित पुण्यमूर्ते योगेश शाश्वत शरण्य भवाब्धिपोत लक्ष्मीनृसिंहयोनिधिनि
With this very beautiful prayer it is. Srimad Payodhiniketana Chakrapani. Very, very beautiful. So when the song is coming in the fourth line, you all can recite together. Easy to recite. Lakshmi Narsimha Mama Dehi Karavalama. Other lines you can start.
Krapane Panane Aghanipidane Srimat Payonidhiniketana Chakrapane Bhogindra Bhogamaniranjita Punyamurte योगेश शाश्वत शरण्य भवाब्धिपोत लक्ष्मी नृसिंह मम देहि करावलम्बम् ब्रह्मेन्द्र रुद्र मरुदर्क किरीटकोटि संघट्टिताङ्घ्रिकमलामलकान्तिकान्त लक्ष्मीलसत्कुच सरोरुहराजहंसा लक्ष्मी नृसिंह मम देहि करावलम्बम् संसार घोर गहने चरतो मुरारे मारोग्र भीकर मृग प्रवरादितस्य आर्तस्य मत्सर निदाघनिपीडितस्य लक्ष्मी नृसिंह मम देहि करावलम्बम् संसारकूपमतिघोरमगाधमूलम् सम्प्राप्य दुःखशतसर्पसमाकुलस्य दीनस्य देवकृपणा पदमागतस्य लक्ष्मी नृसिंह मम देहि करावलम्बम् संसारसागर विशालकरालकाल नक्रग्रहग्रसन निग्रह विग्रहस्य व्यग्रस्य रागरसनोर्मिनिपीडितस्य लक्ष्मी नृसिंह मम देहि करावलम्बम् संसारवृक्षमघबीजमनन्तकर्म शाखाशतं करणपत्रमनङ्गपुष्पम् आरुह्य दुःखफलितं पततो दयालो लक्ष्मी नृसिंह मम देहि करावलम्बम् संसारसर्पघनवक्त्रभयोग्रतीव्र दंष्ट्राकरालविषदग्धविनष्टमूर्ते नागारिवाहनसुधाब्धिनिवासशौरे लक्ष्मी नृसिंह मम देहि करावलम्बम् संसारदावदहनातुरभीकरोरु ज्वालावलीभिरतिदग्धतनूरहस्य त्वत्पादपद्मसरसीरुहमागतस्य लक्ष्मी नृसिंह मम देहि करावलम्बम् सर्वेन्द्रियार्थबडिशाग्रझषोपमस्य प्रोत्कण्डितप्रचुरतालुकमस्तकस्य लक्ष्मी नृसिंह मम देहि करावलम्बम् संसारभीकरकरीन्द्रकराभिघाता निष्पिष्टवर्मवपुषः सकलार्तिनाश प्राणप्रयाणभवभीतिसमाकुलस्य लक्ष्मी नृसिंह मम देहि करावलम्बम् अन्धस्य मे हृतविवेकमहाधनस्य चोरैः प्रभो बलिभिरिन्द्रियनामधेयैः मोहान्धकूपकुहरे विनिपातितस्य लक्ष्मी नृसिंह मम देहि करावलम्बम् लक्ष्मीपदे कमलनाभसुरेश विष्णो वैकुण्ठ कृष्ण मधुसूदन विश्वरूप ब्रह्मण्यकेशव जनार्दन चक्रपाणे देवेश देहि कृपणस्य करावलम्बम् लक्ष्मी नृसिंह चरणाब्जमधुव्रतेन स्तोत्रं कृतं सुखकरं भुवि शङ्करेण एतत् पठन्ति मनुजा हरिभक्तियुक्ताः ते यान्ति तत्पदसरोजमखण्डरूपम्।
भक्तराज प्रहलाद महाराज की, श्रील प्रभुपाद की, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की, कलियुग पावन हरिनाम संकीर्तन की। थैंक यू।